at the end of the day, uh, all the conflict that happens in the sewer and elsewhere, that was a rubber duck. Uh, Whatever.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one who heard it.
Sorry, that was my microphone. I was messing with the head of it who's squeaking. I was adjusting it.
Okay.
Well, there's the intro. Welcome to the Operation STRIX podcast. I am your host, The Crow. Joining me today is Roski Drasman
Hello.
and Cool Blue Rays.
Hello.
And we are recording this very late in the evening right now. Our schedules are all over the place. Poor Blue gave it her all at the bowling league tournament today, so we're going to try to make this a quick episode because everybody go and get some sleep. Chapter 86. We were super hyped when this chapter came out, and now we're all tired, and I kind of feel bad about it because we were like foaming at the mouth when we first read it.
Yeah.
And
we were for so many different reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. But
Yeah.
I think everyone knows what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Like so much shit happened. Well,
there was a lot. I mean, there was a lot to foam at the mouth over. I mean, we got okay, it wasn't as dark as I predicted it was going to be, like the outcome of this Fiona versus Wheeler. Not that I thought that Endo would get super dark with it, but it was still like more lighthearted than I was anticipating. But I didn't hate it. Like it was very on brand for Endo for Fiona to almost bash Wheeler's skull in with her own skull, and then Lloyd just popping up out of nowhere and be like, "Don't stop, you're being stupid."
I just noticed right now that she hopped over to him with 1 foot. I didn't realize until right now.
I know. That's why
which kind of takes away from the severity of the scene a little bit.
I don't know. It's still kind of creepy. Like it's
creepy. It's terrifying and creepy, but it's like there's just this underlying tone of like you gotta laugh at the ridiculousness of like she's like menacingly hopping over. She's about to take him out.
It's just a
hopping menacingly.
She's hopping mad, you know.
Oh, that's bad. I like that one.
That's a good one.
Well, Fiona was definitely hopping mad. And yeah, because I was rereading it too, and I didn't catch that she was about to like head bash him with her own, and then
okay, that's even worse if you think about it.
About her bash her head against his.
I mean, she's about to give herself like a fucking concussion.
No, yeah, exactly.
Up.
Like if she's hitting with like crazy strength, break my arms.
No
like if she's gonna break her own fucking head in the process. So.
Yeah. It's so bad that even Lloyd comes back from the dead and is just like, what the fuck are you doing? Nope. Stop it. And then I love Fiona almost confessing to him. Just like, oh, never mind. Shut up.
Oh.
But I mean, this is best case scenario of the ending of this fight. Like super best case scenario, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought it was going to be a little more messy than how it all wrapped up. But
to be fair, there was other conflict to go to get about. So it's a nice it's a fair compromise that we got a clean conclusion here because it wasn't exactly clean. It was satisfactory, but it wasn't exactly clean. Later down the line.
I don't know. Like the only bad thing that happened was that the mole for Wise got taken out, which I mean is still pretty bad. But I honestly thought Lloyd was going to be way.
That's still pretty bad.
Nah, but to be fair, This is the start of Yuri seriously starting to suspect Lloyd because he almost got him.
Almost, yeah.
If Lloyd hadn't been careful, yeah. I can't pass by the moment when Fiona is super embarrassed or something.
She's freaking out because Lloyd is carrying her.
No, I mean like when she was wondering if Lloyd heard everything she
Oh yeah,
confessed,
you're all here to
Yeah.
to
today.
Wheeler.
Yeah.
I was like, I was just surprised at how embarrassed she was about like, oh, I don't want him to know.
I mean, you don't want your crush to hear you gushing over them, and then like,
Exactly,
I mean,
like
it's like typical teenager
guess-
stuff. To be completely
okay.
honest with you, like,
Okay,
I
well,
mean,
in that perspective, I can understand
I
a
mean,
little
Fiona.
better.
she's
Like
not
I
the
said,
most
Fiona-
mature person in the room. Not that Lloyd's any better, but
I mean,
She
well,
sure knows
kind
how to
of,
pretend
not
to be.
really. I mean,
yeah,
like I said before, Fiona is essentially like Yuvia from Fairy Tail in the wrong manga.
yeah. But I honestly I thought it. I mean, it could also just be her just like hopped up on freaking adrenaline and stuff like right, and she's not thinking clearly. She's just like, I don't know. I feel like Fiona, you have more important things to worry about than Lloyd hearing your love confession. Like the fact that, like, I don't know, you shattered every bone in your body,
Yeah.
And the
which she
SSS
like
is on your
walks
trail.
off. Like, yeah, she walks that off like no problem. Like, yeah, Lloyd carries her, but then she's in the car and she's like all wrapped up and like doesn't look like she's in any real pain or anything like that. I'm like, God damn. Like,
No, she does. I mean, she
oh,
does.
whoa, yeah, it hits her finally. Yeah, I see it right now.
Yeah, after the adrenaline wore
It's
off.
like, oh shit.
I love that face. She's like, oh, yeah.
Don't forget
oh,
the.
shit.
She's like, "You're my little toy knife with a retracting blade."
Wait.
That was so cringe.
It was, oh god.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! What kind of Fiona?
I
Please.
I don't know.
She was so cool, and then she went right back to
I know.
ultra simping Lloyd,
Yeah.
and it was like, this hurts to look at.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it equally hurt because Fiona was like channeling every Lloyd Kinney in the server today because like, that whole her her freaking out while he's carrying her. I'm like, this is what half the server sounded like this morning. Okay, with fucking feral over half naked Lloyd. I mean, yeah, I guess people have been waiting for it for like 3 years, but still.
Hey, it's not our fault. We've been wondering.
Hey, I'm not blaming you. I mean, you guys have heard me on this podcast before. I want to see Shirtless Lloyd, but I want to see other people see Shirtless Lloyd and be like, why the fuck is this guy Jack? Like, okay. To be fair, it didn't really show up in this, but I guess it was more focused on the drama. But no, so okay, so what was I gonna say before we started? But just real quick, Mustache Agent, my new favorite character. Well, he's always been kind of my favorite because he's just like the cool old dude who's just like fucking around with all these younger agents, and he's like, "Hey, Twi guy, you're getting a drink with me when we're back." And I was just like, I don't know, I love that.
Twi guy, I love that nickname so much.
What's up, Twi guy?
he doesn't respect him.
It's such a goofy ass dad thing to do.
I know. I want backstory on him so bad. Like, you have no idea.
I know.
Give him a name.
Here.
Well, give him a code name.
Just a name.
Already.
Yeah.
Really? But please.
Okay, but here, wait, hold on. Now that I'm looking back on it, Lieutenant was going in after him when he went in, or I guess he was coming in the opposite way. But still, I'm surprised that they didn't run into Yuri's lieutenant while in the sewers, unless they got lost or something like that.
That could have happened. It seems like it's a very large sewer system.
It's video game at large.
Yeah, it's as large as it needs to be.
Real life sewer systems are not something normal people can navigate that comfortably.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I guess Endo was really stretching it with this chapter. He didn't want any more shonen moments, which... okay, I'll accept it. I've had enough shown in the past few chapters.
It will have dragged the pacing, you know? Oh, we escaped from this guy. Oh, we now have to escape from this other guy. Like,
yeah, I think it's definitely come to a, like, this feels like it's kind of the closing.
Yeah, the natural
statement
conclusion
of this arc. And
yeah,
let's see, was it Twilight? He he explains that, oh yeah, Yor's condition for marrying me was to put her brother's mind at ease. If she were to lose him, she'd lose that motivation as well, and Operation Strix would suffer, because that's always
It's
his
all for the
fucking
mission.
excuse.
It's all for
It's
the
all for the
mission.
mission. And
like
Fiona
if
pretty correctly points out that, because
that's
he
bullshit.
kind of put it down this
Yeah,
way,
that's
she
bullshit.
can't really come up with a excuse or complaint about it.
Yes.
Says what she says is it's unfair of him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like, even
it was a
no,
dirty move.
but even she can't tell it's bullshit. So.
Well, yeah, and I said it this morning. I could write a fucking dissertation on the look on Lloyd's eyes when he says that, and I'm
I
like,
know.
and I wish Pines and Sid were here, because we were talking about it this morning of like, Endo has, manga Lloyd is very cold, like emotionally, like expression wise, he's very cold. You can't ever really tell what he's thinking, but it always comes through in his eyes. Like, that's the only thing that you can really see. Like,
Yeah.
and just like the look in that eyes right now of just like the thought of your losing her only family, like the way that he lost his only family. It's like you could deconstruct that 1,000 different ways, and
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
just so
I
good.
know.
It's not even like, not even like romantic wise, like just the emotion behind those eyes, and like,
It's
everything
just
that's going
trying
through
to
his
be a
head.
decent human being towards another decent human being.
Right. Well, and I guess we'll jump ahead to when him and Yor back home, but it's not even. I'm of the opinion that he's not even like thinking that way. Like, he straight up is like, it implies like Lloyd. Okay, yeah, I'm all over the place right now. So Lloyd gets home. Yor, of course, reveals that, oh no, everything's fine. I was my gripe was that I didn't have any gripes, and now that you're home,
Yeah.
everything's fine. So of course, yeah, he loses it. He falls to the ground, and they have a really sweet moment, like the sweetest fucking moment that they've had since, I don't even know what, like chapter 12 or some bullshit like that. Like 2 years that we've waited for them to have like a genuine, like emotionally mature conversation between the two of them. And Lloyd, what was it? Yours, like, you don't have to be perfect all the time. Like, I want to be helpful to you. Just let me help you. And Lloyd's like, I'm reading it right now. I become painfully aware of my weaknesses, and when I looked into Wheeler's eyes, I remembered I live in a world in which only the perfect survive, which is why. And he's like staring at Yor the entire time. And so that goes
Yeah.
back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, he sees Yor as like this perfect person, and
Woo!
ugh, God,
Ooh.
it's like, oh god damn it! Like, where was this? Where was this character growth?
I know.
In the past like year, like, I've been waiting for it, and I finally have it. It's so juicy. It's
Well,
so
remember,
good.
they've only had 3 months of living together for him to come to this conclusion. It's just been 3
Apparently.
years for us. We're like, oh my god.
Oh my god. And then
God,
Yuri
the
has
slow
to
burn.
fucking ruin it. God damn it, Yuri.
Yeah, he has.
I mean, that's that's his
nerve
work.
to show his damn face.
Show his damn face. Which, okay, yeah. What happens after when Yuri shows up, it's a very serious moment. We'll talk about that in a second. But did Yuri just straight up, because he's like, he of course ruins the moment, enters the door, he's like, Yuri, you have to hear this. Did he run all the way over to Yor's house just to tell his sister that he got his ass beat by Twilight? Because that's the only thing that I could think of right now, unless Endo throws something else in the next chapter. Was just like,
No,
Yor, you can't believe it. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, well, that's actually a good question. What the hell was he gonna
Yeah,
tell her?
what was he even thinking?
Because
Well,
you
you
can't
know
tell.
what?
Yeah.
Maybe he was just so freaked out thinking he might have actually lost his life that he, I don't know, in a brief moment of madness, he was like, I should go tell my sister
Maybe.
everything.
Right.
Because I might have died, and then he wouldn't have wanted to. I don't know. I honestly don't know what was going through his head beyond, like, maybe he just really wanted to see her because he thought he was
Wanted
never
some
going to see her
sympathy
again.
or something.
In like a
Yeah.
a moment of like, oh my god, I might actually die right now.
Right. Like, sister, I just got my ass beat at the Capitol building out of nowhere. It was crazy. Please hug me.
Please hug me. I mean, it could have been that. I thought he was actually going to confess like everything. Like, I'm a
Maybe.
SSS officer. I almost died today because of a
Whoa.
wise spy. Like, I honestly don't know if that was
No.
really where he was going, but
Because he doesn't want
I
Yor
mean,
to
he wasn't
worry.
clearly. Well, his head's not in the right place. Remember, he got beat
Yeah.
up so bad.
He got 2 concussions.
He's clearly not thinking straight right now.
Well,
Right.
maybe more than 3, but
Right. I mean, I genuinely thought he was going to tell Yor he got his ass beat, but of course he's SSS. He can't tell her that. So yeah, I'm wondering what the fuck he ran all the way over there to tell her. Maybe it's something. It'll be the next plot beat in the next chapter. Who knows? But yeah, Yuri shows up and immediately notices that Lloyd's a little twitchy, got a little lost the pep in his step, and so he's like, "Wait a minute!" And he goes in, checks his arm, which he doesn't find anything when he checks Lloyd's arm. I'll admit, like, I didn't see because I was reading Manga Plus, so I don't have. Usually, when I read Viz, I have both the pages on at the same time, so I didn't see Lloyd had covered it up with the makeup. So when he pulled the sleeve back, I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What happened to his arm? Like, where did it go?" And then Endo got me. I was like, "Okay, that's pretty good. It's pretty good, Lloyd." What are y'all's thoughts on like this whole like ending scene? I guess after like Yuri leaves and like Lloyd's, Lloyd has the typical hero in the shower moment. He's thinking about things.
it is a
the
pretty
prototypical hero moment in the shower. Yeah.
Well, thought it was hot as fuck. I'll tell you that much. Let's
open with that. Let's open with that.
Get it out of the way, okay? It was just we've been jokingly, but also seriously wondering, are we ever going to get Shirtless Lloyd? I want to see Shirtless Lloyd. Remember when everyone in the anime community freaked out because they thought they saw like, oh, is Lloyd showering in the anime and it was just Henderson? Remember that?
Yeah.
Clearly, like everyone wants this and we're finally getting this.
We're getting the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Yeah.
Only from the waist up, you freaks.
I mean, but
still pretty good overall.
Still pretty good. Like, hey, I'm a straight man. Even I'm like,
to the
good
equation,
job,
and you need gains bonus points. It's not that.
I remember I joked about like Endo being like, "This is the money shot."
Yep.
We gotta zoom in real close, show the angst while also the abs.
This is literally the most fan service we've ever gotten in Spy X Family.
Literally,
I'm quite happy with it. I am quite happy with it.
Yeah, and it would be
tastefully done. It was well done. I'll give.
It's such a good like the paneling on that and like the shot. Like I fucking love that. I want to edit it so like I just have like the part where like he rips the makeup off to reveal like his actual like bullet wound, and just like the thought like his eyes, and he's like freaking out and he doesn't know whether like he knows he's compromised, but at the same time he's like, I can't be compromised, so I just gotta suck it up and I gotta keep doing what I'm doing. And then of course Yor being Yor, she puts the fucking kibosh on that again. But I don't know what Lloyd's gonna be like after this. Like, is he gonna be more receptive to the idea of having Yor as a wife, or like being a dad, being a husband, or is he gonna double down on like trying to like squash that out? Like, is he gonna be colder on purpose, or I don't know.
I don't think it's possible for him to really pull that off at this point. Like being colder, he's way too invested, I think, and holding back on hurting Yuri definitely is a sign of that. Him already kind of being so freaked out and stressed about about her being unhappy with him, and then the sense of relief that he felt when he fell down, when he's like, I can't think, I have no energy to think or talk or anything, because he was just, that's kind of the feeling someone gets when they're like, they've spent all day kind of overthinking and ruminating, what am I going to do about the situation because someone's upset with me, or they think they've done something wrong, and then they find out like it wasn't as bad as they really thought. Like, that sense of relief is like releasing almost in its own way, and it just
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, it's a really interesting response. And
Yeah.
someone pointed out to me, because I was talking with someone in the DMs, they said that it reminded them of the moment when Anya passed her exam, the first exam, to
Uh-huh.
get into Eden, and how Lloyd relaxed and he fell over.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he had so much pent up anxiety and stress
Uh-huh.
that when like he finally got the results, or like he finally found the, got the answer that he wanted, he like was so relieved about it that he just like kind
Yeah.
of fell apart because he was happy.
Yeah.
At least in that scene, I would
Mm-hmm.
argue that in this scene, at least, he was just more relieved that Yor wasn't genuinely angry with him, if
Yeah.
anything. And like, yeah, I mean, at the very least, that shows he really cares about what she thinks of him as a husband, as a friend. Um, and I think that's just why he just was like, "Oh my god, I'm glad I don't have to keep my guard up around her."
Right.
Which is like
Yeah.
something he's been doing less and less of.
Right. That is a recurring thing of him just like passing out around his girls.
Yeah.
Which it's good now, and I want to add on to that of like you are fueled by your anxiety to the point that like once it all comes crashing down, that's it. Like you ain't got nothing left. And like the whole part with Mustache Agent, he's like, "Hey, let's go get some drinks." Blah blah. He's like, "No, absolutely not." He's like, "I can't do that. Like I already got like this problem with my wife." Blah blah. And like I don't know. I think on top of that, if Lloyd had gone to get drinks, like he had just been dead. Like he wouldn't have even made it home that day. So he's like, "Look, I don't have anything left in me. I gotta go get yelled at by my wife. So I'll see y'all tomorrow."
He would take getting yelled at by Yor, then avoiding it and getting drinks with the buddies, with the pals.
Right? You can't. It sounds good at first, but it ain't going to end well for you, buddy. Uh, but
uh and I really find it sweet how Yor was like, I'd be happy to help out. She wants to feel like she can be relied on. She wants to feel like she can be trusted by him, which is very important to her and very important to a lot of people in relationships,
mm-hmm.
friendships. um I think I love everything about their scene, their discussion. It felt really heart, like just like a very warm heart to heart, very real, I think, kind of moment between these two people.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And it was all honestly just really heartwarming, um and nice to see them getting along
Yeah. As
after
Yeah.
like all the little itty bitty bits of like, oh yeah, it's really funny that they're like kind of fighting or misunderstanding each other.
mm-hmm.
But it's so nice that they were able to finally come together and like clear the air and be like, nope, this is kind of what I wanted. I'm sorry that I like made you think it was me griping or complaining about you, because I just had this idea in my head that it would be more normal to
Mm-hmm.
do that. Because
Yeah.
obviously, like Lloyd, I mean, he was calling himself like sorry for like being a failure.
Yeah.
So I
Ugh.
mean, both of them can be very hard on themselves about
Ugh. Yeah.
making the other
Uh,
person, I guess, unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, that's very real, very real
Mm-hmm.
kind of feeling and misunderstanding that a lot of people can find themselves in, where it's like, man, I must be really fucking up or something right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like a fuck up, or I feel like a failure.
Yeah.
And man, my
Well.
partner or my friend must really hate me, or my family member must really despise me right now or
Yeah.
something. Basically, they're just very hard on themselves, more than they
Yeah.
should be.
hmm.
Uh
Absolutely. And
yeah.
like what you were saying, I think that's a very like common. I mean, that's a common fear that a lot of adults have is just like I'm not good enough, or like especially if you're with somebody, you're like I'm not good enough for my partner. I'm not, you know, I'm doing something wrong in this relationship, and I think that's a big reason why this manga is popular is because you have these adult main characters that you can project onto with that and sympathize with, especially in Lloyd's case. I mean, same thing with Yor, but maybe to a slightly lesser extent of just like they have to be perfect at their jobs or they die, you know. And
Hmm.
Yes.
for Lloyd, I have to be perfect 24/7, or
Oh
that's
shit, it's
it.
the
You know,
fan.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so like, and he's trying to translate that into being married, and like you know, and it goes back to what your was saying is like, you know, you don't have to be perfect. You can rely on me. I want you to rely on me. So you know, and it makes me happy when you rely on me. So you know, that right there is also, I think, well, mostly for Lloyd, it's character progress of like, because yours been relying and taking care of her brother for, you know, since she was a kid, but Lloyd's never had that. So just for to have your there and to put that in perspective for him, you know, it's just so good. Like I don't even like, now that I think about it, I'm just smiling because it makes me happy. Like just on like a fundamental level, I just like, you know, with everything that these characters have been through, I think it's just a really nice way to wrap up the arc. Um,
Hmm.
I mean,
I think so too. And then at the very end, we got a little gag of your burning one of his shirts. His little face. Yeah, this
yeah,
might just be hopeless.
and then he passes out again. Yes, you
I
gotta
think
have
Yeah.
it
your
was
endo joke,
just enough.
right?
Just enough of a joke.
Yeah, I think that was true for most of this chapter. It was like, it was just enough. Not to say it was a bad chapter or anything like that, or like I hated the chapter.
No,
I feel like
but
everything that should have happened enough. Like he could have went more in on some things, but like, you know, I am not disappointed at all with what we got.
it was a satisfying conclusion. That's the important aspect of it. It doesn't feel like it brushed over things like the hijacking felt that
Right.
that it brushed over things that we thought were important to address, like how the Eden parents feel, how Lloyd and you are reacting to this whole mess, like
Mm-hmm.
how like it didn't skip a bit,
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe it could be argued that they could have done more with Wheeler, so the fact that he's alive still might be relevant in the future. Who knows?
Right.
Um, but it got into the meat of it,
Mm-hmm.
like in a way I feel validated. The entire deal with Wheeler was that he was gonna be the uh, opposite of Twilight in that he didn't have the emotional compromise,
Mm-hmm.
uh, while Twilight did, and that was what this was going to boil down to, and it does. Like at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
that is the part of the conflict that this emotional payoff is about. Like
Yeah.
Twilight feels in the wrong in a way. He feels the responsibility because he now is so aware in every conceivable level of how compromised he is,
Mm-hmm.
to the fairly nuanced conclusion that yes, there's a risk in letting yourself be vulnerable, but letting yourself be vulnerable is just part of the human experience. Sure, he may gain technically quote unquote vulnerability because he's now relying on someone else and trusting someone else that
Yeah.
wasn't part of the original deal, but he may gain something out of it. He may gain motivation, drive,
Yeah.
support that he never had.
Yeah. Because the same thing happened
So
with
it wraps,
TwiYor.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it wraps up in a neat way that how would I say,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and
I mean,
but
it does contextualize, like what you're saying. It does contextualize why Lloyd is doing this in the first place, because it's, as you say, Fiona, as crazy as she has Lloyd. Like that is her fixation, and that is what she holds on to. That's what gives her strength. With yours, she already says that Lloyd and Anya are that for her, and now that Lloyd has this in the back of his head, before it was just like, oh, I don't want a world where kids don't cry. That's a very nebulous idea. And like, it's kind of hard
it's
to
an
live up to that because it's like,
it's an
it's just
ideal. It's
right.
just this. It's just this unreachable idea. It's kind of an utopia. Yeah, I
You can never
suffered,
achieve
so
it.
I. Yeah, it's kind of cheeky. It's an
Mhm.
impossible goal, but precisely because it's impossible because he's just a human,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I
kind
just
of a
think
reality
it.
check in a way.
Yes, definitely. It makes it to like this now gives Lloyd an actual reason to do what he does. You know, I want. I live in a. I'm rereading again. I live in a world in which only the perfect survive. And so he already acknowledges the fact that he is not perfect. However, the way that this is phrased, it makes it seem like he has found people that are perfect in his eyes, and he will do anything in his power to keep to keep them safe. So maybe we'll see this, Lloyd taking on missions more fervently, like Yor did with her missions. Maybe we'll have some more like side missions with Lloyd while Yor and Anya are out doing shit. I don't know.
I do think this is gonna get. Hmm, that's the interesting part. Where does he go from here? Because he's clearly conflicted about it.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's not like, oh, I am getting compromised. I'm just gonna get back. Like, oh, I'm very compromised. I got my ass
I'm fucked.
beaten.
I
I
love my
found
wife.
motivation in my accomplice. Where the fuck do I go from here?
Yeah. I think it's a problem for the end game. I think I mean, obviously, it's gonna muddy the end game. I think in the short term, it's gonna benefit Lloyd because he's got this newfound strength and reason and all this stuff. So
Mm,
I think it's gonna honestly. I think in the short term, it's probably gonna add more to like the comedy and like the action. But as for the drama, I mean, that's still on the table, and we're not gonna
mm,
see that for like three,
yeah.
4 years, something like that. So buckle up, gang. What is it? What is
Uh,
the next chapter? What does that come out?
it's it's around a month from here. It's like
Yes,
it's
it's
not even in
supposed to
August.
be September 3rd.
September 3rd,
Okay,
so exactly 1 month. Okay, well,
yay.
well, Endo gave us a lot to stew on.
Yeah,
Uh,
and he needs a break. Maybe.
yeah, and that's another thing too. That's I forgot that I had wanted to talk about that real quick. Of like the way Roski, that you were saying that like this arc ended much more neatly than the previous one. Just the simple fact that Endo, we already know, is done with helping with the script and all of that for the movie. Um, I'm like double down convinced that like that was the reason why the arc, the hijacking arc, was the way that it was. Because this entire arc has been fucking fire, like every chapter, and like I know Endo has it in him, the only thing that I could possibly think of as to why that arc was such a letdown was because he was busy and he didn't have the time. That's literally the only things I could think of.
Well,
Yeah, I could agree that I think that is probably why the hijacking arc didn't feel super fulfilling writing wise. Like I think there was good points about it,
Yeah.
but execution a little bit could have been better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not going to get too deep into it because
Right, because
we already
we
ranted about
already
it.
have
yeah, beat the
Yeah.
dead
went into
horse. Yeah.
this
Yep. But yeah,
went into this
I just
rodeo.
can say like writing could have been better, execution could have been better. It did have some interesting points to make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely think that there were still parts about it I more enjoy because at least we got to learn a little bit more about the characters.
Yeah.
So like it has some value to me because of that.
Yeah.
it's
Got to learn
awkward.
a little bit more about like
The
the SSS.
yeah. Really, the
Yeah.
body of it was really solid. It was just like the ending had a lot of rushed ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
feel like I definitely feel like if it had a little bit more time, for
yeah.
sure, it could have maybe had a better way to end the story, even if it did end the
Mm-hmm.
way it did.
Yeah, and it's not even the concept of the ending; it's the execution of the ending.
Yes,
Yeah,
because we talked
I
at
think
length
so.
about some of the things that Endo could have done, and we're not geniuses here. Like we we
We're,
have one
we
brain
just
cell and
kind
we
of write
share it between the
occasionally.
three of us.
Yeah.
So like,
Like we kind of just write occasionally to
I
varying
don't do
degrees of
nothing
success.
anymore. Right. So you know, I think. But okay, one thing I do want to ask: would would you guys have wanted this arc to be a little longer, or do you think it
Hmm.
was the perfect
And
size? Do you?
I'm conflicted about that, strangely enough, because I do think we could have had a little more meat in some areas, but at the same time, I'm not a My Hero Academia fan, but I have read about. I've been checking a little on the latest quote unquote final arc, whatever,
Uh-huh.
and it
Okay.
has the weirdest fucking pacing. There are times where
Yeah.
it looks like it doesn't advance for shit, and that is a concern
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm.
when you are writing a comic or a story, there's always all this stuff in your head that you want to convey. But at the same time, when you start to putting down into paper, written or drawn, you start to realize that maybe this isn't flowing well. And you can pinpoint a lot of action scenes in movies and in manga and in TV shows that do this, that they don't really add anything. And while they may look cool the moment you are reading it moment by moment, the
Mm-hmm.
moment, the time, the when you actually read the whole thing, you realize that you can cut that chunk and you don't miss anything. And I feel that there's a little bit of that here. Like, yeah, there may be a potential cool sequence here, and even just a splice of character exploration here. But at the end of the day, the important part of Wheeler and Twilight fighting was that Twilight was off his game and he got bested,
Mm-hmm.
and this showed him that he's now vulnerable, or that he has always been vulnerable, but now it's very evident because he's
Yeah.
compromised.
Yeah.
So so in the grand scheme in the greater scope of this particular arc, it wasn't needed to expand upon how Wheeler fights or how well Twilight held his ground,
Yeah.
uh, or or specifically because it's not really important to the conflict at hand how the lieutenant plays, because that can be saved for a later arc to see how he fights, to see how he handles a situation where he's chasing an.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I mean, I I honestly thought that it was going to be Mustache Agent versus Lieutenant on this one. Um, or if this arc was going to be longer, since everything's already wrapped up, I would have said fuck it and just have Endo do the zoo chapter that we've been joking about for like 4 months. But no, I mean, I think yeah, I agree with you. I think this is fine. You know, I still wouldn't want to see Lloyd fight, but yeah, I guess
Yeah,
I'll do it another day.
it wouldn't have.
It can always come another day.
Yeah.
I mean, for now we know that Wheeler is being kept alive. Who knows? Maybe if
Do you think he'll come
things,
back?
I mean, maybe Wheeler
Maybe.
could come back. Maybe someone will let him out because they want his intel from Wise and the SSS. I was actually wondering if Garden would actually want to get their hands on him as a result, because
Mm.
he knows about why he knows about why stuff, he knows about the SSS stuff,
Yeah.
and Garden is like an independent kind of military not
Yeah.
military government kind of
Yeah.
thing. So they might be interested in getting their hands on him.
What if they sent Yor to do it?
That's what I was
Oh,
wondering.
yeah.
I was wondering if Yor would like literally have to break in and kidnap slash take this guy back to Garden HQ or something, um,
Oh my god.
because of that intel.
Yeah.
Because that seems like something Shopkeeper would want.
Yeah, Shopkeeper seems to give her weird tasks outside of killing. I mean, we
Mm.
Yeah.
already saw her be like a bodyguard and stuff, so I don't know. It wouldn't be
Makes
too outside the realm of
now
possibility.
I'm okay. Now I'm wondering here.
Wonder.
do you guys think that Shopkeeper is maybe interested in making Yor like his next head or something, like replacing him?
Hmm.
Do you think that's
No.
no? You don't
No.
think so?
This is my gut. I just
Okay.
think he sees her as a tool.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay, that's
I
fine.
don't know.
I was just wondering.
That's my opinion.
I'm not sure if he cares about her, but whether he does or not, sincerely, because that, I mean, it is a possibility, but not really one that has been hinted at too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think McMahon does care about her, but
Yeah.
Shopkeeper, not really
He's
sure.
like the cool evil, well, not evil, the cool badass dad with a
Or
heart of
grandpa.
gold. Yeah.
I miss him.
I
want
miss
him around more. I
McMahon.
want him to meet Anya somehow.
That
McMahon.
would be so good.
Or
What
like
if
Anya
yeah.
is visiting Yor's office building for some reason, and
Yeah.
McMahon is like, I guess I'll watch after her because you guys are busy working.
I want him to love Anya. I want him to adopt her as grandpa.
Oh yeah.
I want him to be like, kind of reminds me of like my daughter when she was at that age. If she has children.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As long as she's fine. As long as the
yeah,
daughter's
but,
still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we're not doing the angsty
Not
shit
tragic,
again. Like
yeah.
with Sylvia,
Yeah.
that's too much.
But yeah,
Right.
back to Shopkeeper. That Princess Mononoke looking asshole. No. I mean, he looks like the guardian spirit in Princess Mononoke. He has the face.
Kind of related. Yeah. Well,
Yeah?
forest spirit thing and Shopkeeper loves.
I wouldn't be surprised if you got
his
some
garden.
inspiration from that. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you say it, I can't fucking unsee it because he's got the lines under his eyes and everything.
And the wild hair. Yeah. And that smile.
Yeah, God. Exactly.
Can we get a server edit? We'll just swap their heads.
Didn't we used to have like Princess Mononoke kind of TwiYor AU, or at least like they redrew a scene from Princess Mononoke, like she's gonna kill the guy and he's like
Probably
beautiful.
I vaguely remember it. Yeah,
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
Very common for them. What else is there to say? I thought it was really funny that there was like a little scene of just Anya sleeping, like she's always just sleeping when
I'm gonna put the fuzz on the lion. Yeah. Oh God, I love her. Yeah, so I kind of do want, if we do get something, I would love if Endo started doing like just like 1 page, like Twitter, like it could be like rough drawings of them, but like especially for like these month-long droughts, like if he just like posted something on Twitter really quick of like Anya and Becky, like stick figure versions of Anya and Becky going to the zoo and just dicking around, like that would satisfy me until the next chapter, to be completely honest with you. Like, I don't know, it's just rough going a whole 4 weeks without a chapter, and then you're like, fuck.
I know.
I mean, I'm kind of used to this shit, so.
Excellent discussion, guys. I'm so glad that we got to make this episode happen, because I really love this chapter, and I'm glad that we could talk about it.
I'm really happy with how this chapter came out too. I think everyone's going to be happy. The action kind of fans, the I guess Nightfall fans, the TwiYor fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do want to say that I do enjoy that Wheeler kind of stayed a bit mysterious. Like I know that Fiona was kind of insulting his motivations for being a kind of selfish
really
prick. But
yeah,
I like that he's kind of more mysterious. Like we don't have to sympathize with him because he was just an asshole,
right?
You know?
No, yeah, but
let us have our assholes.
But even if his philosophy was, even if his philosophy makes him an asshole, we didn't really get a good grasp of his actual motivations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Probably his money.
We might see later. He served his purpose.
Well, Lloyd needs to get his ass beat more often anyway, so that's
but I
mean,
what if it's you're beating his ass and then taking care of him afterwards?
That's some psycho behavior right there.
Yeah, well, I don't judge, man. You do you.
It doesn't matter who beats him. He always
noted. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Yuri hears
Endo's
that.
gonna
He's
be
like,
like,
hell
okay,
yeah.
it doesn't matter who beats him as long as he gets beat. That's fine.
We're getting very dangerous into a different topic here. We're going to end it here, folks. But
Uh,
yeah, so next chapter drops September 3rd. Obviously, that's a whole 4 weeks chapter. I do want to start like a small like mini project in the meantime. That way we are actually like uploading stuff during that week. So maybe like some character analyses. Character
Ooh,
analyses. Yeah.
cool.
So gotta
hmm.
figure out how I'm gonna do that. I was actually working on that before we started recording because I was like, okay, I guess we're not doing a chapter then. I'll just work on my little pet project, I guess. But this was way better. I'd rather do this.
Yeah.
Ah.
All right.
3 voices are better than 1.
Exactly. Unless they're the ones in my head. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, well, if you hear more than 1 voice, that's a little concerning.
Well, I better call my doctor tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you everybody for listening. We're going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you all again in a month. Bye.
Bye.
No, I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.